Hey, it says we're live, so I guess we are. What's up, y'all? It's a Sunday evening, and we're at the end of July, which is crazy. I was about to say the end of June, but I looked up and it says July, which is crazy. We're almost in August here. Hope y'all are staying safe. Hope y'all are having a good evening. We're gonna hang out and do some astronomy live with Mr. Stephen Hummel. There he is down in there. There he is, even bigger. There we go.
Yeah. Hello.
Stephen, you are at the McDonald Observatory. Is that correct?
Yeah, I am at McDonald Observatory in far west Texas. I'm here with a 20-inch Ritchie-Chrétien telescope. It's f8. If you've watched our previous streams, this is a different telescope. And we've got a nice big dome, which I don't have to stand up or anything to move. It's an automated dome, very nice. And just an all-around awesome setup, kind of a prototype telescope. We don't really use this one often for these kinds of live streams because it could be a little quirky, but I'm hoping that we can keep the quirks under control and give you some awesome views. We're going to start off with the moon, and then we're going to go see that someone said there was a comet. I don't know. I think it's just a rumor.
Like that. Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not sure if it's real, but
I don't think it's definitely not real.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see it for ourselves. Yeah, there's the moon right now.
Speaking of not real, there you go.
Yeah, it's again just a big hologram. I've been saying it the whole time. No, just kidding.
They're gonna record us, and they're gonna be like, see.
Yeah, no. If any flat earthers are out there, no, you're dumb. You're wrong. But this is the moon. It's flipped vertically. Got a nice, wonderful image there. And as a matter of fact, speaking of things that are not fake, we have several Apollo sites in this field of view.
Yes, we do.
We've got, let's see, Apollo 17, I think, which would be, so we got the Sea of Tranquility here and the Sea of Serenity here. And in between the two, kind of on the border, in this region here, I think kind of in this region, that's where Apollo 17 landed, the last manned mission to the moon. And the first one isn't so far off either. It's over here in the Sea of Tranquility, where Apollo 11 landed, kind of in this region right here. So yeah, those are just two of the. I think Apollo 15 would be down below somewhere. We could look at that later.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you could tell they were getting braver and braver as they went to the moon, because Apollo 11, like he said, is in that big open, darker area where there's no mountains or weird things. Right in there. That was their first mission. They're like, let's just go see what's up.
Yeah, nice and flat.
And then as they kept going, they did get a little more. They landed in the lunar Alps at one point, I think, which is pretty cool. A little bit further. Oh yeah, right there. There you go.
Yeah, right, and
exactly right in there, basically.
Yeah.
Because that little crater up top of the that little white, that's Moltke, which is a very famous crater for me because it's right next to the lunar Texas, which is just above all that, but backwards in this view.
You're gonna have to help me out with the lunar Texas. I see it when you explain it, and
it's backwards in this view. I can see it, but only because I know.
Oh, is it?
Well, there is another one over there, by the way, but no, the one I'm talking about is right there. Yeah, and it's flipped. So Moltke is in the Gulf of Mexico, and your neck of the woods is up and to the right.
Oh, I see.
Backwards. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I see it.
But that's how I find the Apollo 11 landing site. Is I find Sea of Tranquility, lunar Texas, Moltke, and then you just come off the coast a little bit there, and that's where the boys landed, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin.
Yeah.
Danced with Luna. I want to get to some comments, though, real quick while we're welcoming everybody in, because we just kind of jumped into it because, dude, the moon is so cool. We love the moon. And it's not often we get to see the moon from 6,000 feet on Mount Lock, where Stephen is. So this is pretty cool. Zolchi Mercado, there he is in the house. What's up, Zolchi? Joe says, I wasn't expecting you to go live 15 minutes early. Well, expect the unexpected around here.
The sun is setting earlier now, so
that's right.
Dark a little faster.
That's right. Yeah, we used to have to go live at like 10 p.m. and now it seems we'll start getting. If we could do it earlier and earlier, it's the way it goes. What's up, Andy in the UK? Both, Camilla. I bet you. I bet you we'll get both. We're starting with our closest neighbor right now, as kind of a warm up. But I think Stephen has some pretty fun objects for us coming. And again, we do take requests if it's available. So don't say the Orion Nebula, because we can't show you that, but we can show you a lot of other things, or Andromeda Galaxy. We can't let's go ahead and get those out of the way first.
We're gonna stick to some brighter deep sky objects too tonight, not the super obscure hocus object kind of things. Partly because the moon's up and the moon's gonna wash it out, and we're kind of limited to shorter exposures with this setup, and we have a less sensitive camera. But there's still a lot of stuff we can see, so we'll still see some cool Milky Way stuff.
Absolutely. James finally got to catch one live from New York. What's up, James? Good. Glad you could join us. And Bob says 20-inch f8. Oh, yeah. It's a nice telescope back there. For those of y'all that are just joining, again, there's the scope is behind Stephen there. It is pointed up at the moon. It's a live shot of the moon in the next pane. But yeah, that's and so you and I talked a lot about this mount before, and but this is an altitude azimuth mount, whereas in the normal dome, you're using an equatorial mount. And maybe kind of take us through a brief thing on that while I'll go through some of these comments while you're doing that.
Yeah. So this mount, it moves up and down and left and right. Very simple, a lot like a Dobsonian telescope. This is a plane wave L500 mount. We usually use this telescope for visual purposes, and you would look through a little port on the side where currently I have the camera. Most other telescopes like it, you have, something at the back end, but not in this one. This is modified to have the eyepiece or camera, in this case, out the side. So this is ideal for visual observing because the eyepiece is a nice stable height, and as we move the telescope around, the eyepiece always stays at the same height, meaning it's more handicap accessible for in our pre-COVID days when people would actually come and physically look through it with an eyepiece. But because it moves up and down, left and right, it doesn't account for the fact that things appear to rotate if you follow them across the sky. So if something is rising, rising over here, kind of going up, by the time it gets over here, notice my thumb is now pointed down. And so it means as you watch, if you were to watch an object as the Earth spins, the object would appear to rotate in the field of view. It's called field rotation. The other kind of mount we had is aligned with the Earth's axis of rotation. So it accounts for that. This one doesn't, which means we can't take as long of an exposure. We don't have a derotator, as it's called, on this yet. This is actually just a prototype telescope for a bigger brother that is currently under construction off in California for us, which will take its place, and it'll have a lot of fancy gizmos, and it'll be completely robotically controlled. It'll be a 24-inch telescope. And the focal length is about 4 meters. So yeah, we can see some planetary nebulae, the planets, awesome stuff. Really small stuff is what this is good for.
Oh yeah, like that's how we like it, I think.
Yeah.
Paul, Stephen Hummel right there is in West Texas, and I am all the way over here in East Texas. So we are literally 890 some odd miles, well, it's more like 790 some odd miles from each other. But through the power of the internet,
drive.
we're in the same observatory. But notice I have guitars instead of telescopes. It's the way it goes. It's the way it goes. Glad to see all y'all hanging out with us. What's up, Marcus? Benjamin says that I hear someone needs a Yoo-hoo delivery. That's true. We need a Yoo-hoo delivery to the moon. Stat. Elon's going to want a lot of that when he gets to the moon.
I wonder how much that would cost.
Well, it's like what, $20,000 for 1 pound of something, and something like that.
Like low Earth orbit or the moon?
Oh, that's true. That is low Earth orbit. Yeah. So to the moon, that's a whole other. Let's say $1 million a pound.
How probably much something like that.
Let's send a pound of Yoo-hoo, a dried Yoo-hoo, to the moon. That's what we'll do.
Yeah.
But then it'll look like the Gulf of Mexico. Saturn is not available right now, Brian, but maybe at the conclusion, maybe. I don't know. It's getting higher and higher. in the
Yeah,
sky as the summer goes by here.
we needed to get about 10 degrees higher. The walls of this dome are about 26 degrees tall, so up from the horizon. So, and Saturn's currently at an altitude of 16. So in about an hour or so, Saturn should be high enough. We will do it. It's a really awesome thing to see, but just going to take a while to get there.
Absolutely, yeah. And when you're viewing the planets, the moon has no effect on your ability to see the planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Mars, whatever. Maybe if it's in the way, if it's occulted, one of the planets, it's a lot harder to see. Which is actually an event you definitely want to see. I've got to see a few of those. I think my favorite one was I guess only one planet. It would have been the Venus occultation of like 2012, maybe, or 2013. I forget exactly which year. It was a daytime occultation. And I can tell y'all that was the weirdest thing to see the moon in the sky. We're like, okay, there's the moon. And then we knew Venus was coming. It was like 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. when this whole thing happened. We were looking, and it was just like you look just to the left of the moon, and there was Venus, daytime, broad daylight, sun's out, blue skies, Venus. And you can see Venus like that all the time. You have to know exactly where to look, like exactly in the sky, and you'll pick it out of the nothing. It'll just kind of, boop, there it is. And it was weird because the moon was there and Venus was, over here. And it was just like, oh, man, I can see it. So we got my buddy's telescope on it, and we basically videoed the whole thing. I think it's on my channel somewhere. It was a long time ago. I think it was 2012.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've seen one occultation, and it was really, really surreal to see. It was, in my case, Saturn as well, just slowly disappear behind the moon. And it was a
Venus.
dark edge of the. Yeah.
Sorry.
Did I say Saturn? Yeah, right. No. I was thinking you did.
Okay.
No, you said Venus.
Okay. All right.
I meant Saturn. Anyway, yeah, like to see, like, especially if it's going behind the unlit portion of the moon, it's like really weird. Let's go to the top part of the moon, or in our field of view, it's flipped vertically, but and then we'll go to that dirty snowball.
Dirty snowball.
Yes, I know people are asking about the comet. Yes, we will look at the comet just in time, so it'll get a little darker.
Yep, we'll get a better view. You can see the comet. It's in the northwest right now still. So if you find the Big Dipper, I think the Big Dipper is probably one of the easier asterisms to find in the nighttime sky. I can't really think. Maybe the Pleiades, but that's actually just a cluster of stars. It's not really an asterism. The Big Dipper is an asterism because we named it something else. Then, people are like, oh, well, it's a constellation. No, not really. The Big Dipper is actually an asterism because the constellation is Ursa Major, the Great Bear. And there's a whole lot of the constellation that you don't get if you just look at the Big Dipper. This thing is massive. The Great Bear is ginormous, even, I might say.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest constellations.
Yeah. And so if you can find the Big Dipper and look to the left with binoculars and just sort of scan over there a little bit, you'll find it, especially if you're not in city lights. If you're out in the countryside, suburbia, stuff like that, you're going to be good to go.
Yeah. Well, I think it's about as dark as it's going to get with the moon up, so let's just go ahead and head on over there.
All right. From the moon to the next closest thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Brad Sloan says, I videoed that event with the moon and Venus. Very cool, Brad. So what was cool is back in the day, Brad and I were looking at the exact same thing at the exact same time, and we just didn't even know about it. Oh, and look who we've been waiting for, Mr. Ron Comet to show up. And there he is. How you doing, Ron?
Doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. Just excited for a big week. Had a big week this week, and that huge thing that we did at Space Foundation with Jim Bridenstine and Dr. Thomas Zurbuchen. I still don't know how to say his name right. I need to go back and listen to it. And so Mike Watkins, who's the head of JPL, and then Mimi Ong, who was the head for the Ingenuity Mars copter. We had that on Monday at Space Foundation. It was killer. And so it's been a busy week for us, man. So
That's
it was really good. So yeah. So looking forward to it. We got some really cool stuff going on this week with both Space Foundation and Explore Mars. So I'm excited for another good one, man. Another crazy week without a whole lot of sleep.
Busy man.
Yeah, man.
Ron Comet is busy man these days.
Yeah,
and speaking of a comet, not Ron Comet, but a comet, there it is. Steven's
maybe
working on an image for us.
Yeah.
Look at the magic that he has to do, though, folks. This is not finger painting here. This is
yeah. Trying to get the colors to be realistic on a color camera is actually pretty tricky. But we got a pretty decent view there. The core is sort of greenish. It's from
it's got that beautiful green comet glow.
Yeah, the Swan band emission, or mostly cyanogen and carbon, that's creating that green glow. It was not as green back when it was.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that. It's because a few weeks ago or days ago, when it was closer to the sun, it was hotter and it was different chemicals
sublimating off. Yeah.
Sublimating off. Yeah. More dust, more sodium, more water, other things that take more energy. And so the color was different at the core. But now we have a nice, but more common greenish color. A lot of other comets are this color as well, and they only really get really exciting when they're closer to the sun. This one's moving off. You can see the tail, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you were saying, this is common in a comet that is much further away from the sun. I mean, I have multiple videos on YouTube of time-lapse exposures that I've done of comets, and they're always this little bluish green little ball. They never really have a great tail. You know, they're never like Hale-Bopp or Hyakutake, the ones from, days gone past. They're always like this little green or gray ball. And that's why when you pull this image up, I was kind of surprised to see that. That's something you see further out. But thank you for explaining that. That's a beautiful way, as it's closer to the sun, so there's more radiation energy. It's going to be doing much more output, right? That's why the comet is dimming as it goes away from us. And it's a 6,000-year comet, right?
Yeah,
what I've been heard.
6,800. Yeah, a lot of people are making a big deal about that. Oh, it's not going to come around for 6,800 years. There are much longer period comets than that. There
are comets that go through our solar system and never come back.
Right.
Some comets you do live streams with.
Yeah. This might be the last time this comet is live streamed by humanity. Well, who knows? I mean, it's probably going to get live streamed a lot more, but y'all get what I'm saying. It's not like as this thing goes away, we're going to keep looking at it when it's 20-second magnitude. So
right, it will fade from being a nice, pretty object like you see here. This is still bright for a comet. It's still the brightest comet in the sky.
It is binocular ready. So run to the Wally World or Academy or wherever you shop for your optics that you don't have at the time. Go grab a cheap pair of binoculars. They're better than nothing, especially right now. You can take them back later, right? I don't endorse that. But yeah, you just look to the left of the Big Dipper and just kind of scan around. You can get these little apps on your phone that'll tell you exactly where this stuff is.
Yep.
And you can even hold some of them up and see the trees in your neighborhood imposed on the stars. The augmented reality stuff is amazing. Sky Safari has an augmented reality app, and there's almost no way you can't find this thing. It's like, okay, it's in that general area.
Yep.
Take the binoculars, and it's like, boom, and you're like,
Sky Portal actually sent me information saying, like, a notification popped up on my phone, like, this is the closest it's going to be. This is when you want to go out. All the things like click here for more, and it gives you all the details. Those things are great, and I don't think any of them cost money. Like, I don't think I've ever seen one that I mean, there's so many options out there. You shouldn't have to pay for one, and I would like to see what you're paying for if you did have to pay for one.
Even the Sky Safari A app is free, I believe. I don't think I paid for it. I wouldn't buy another app from them. I bought Sky Safari like 19 times.
Right. I do want to comment on, if you may notice that the core, the nucleus of the brighter part of the comet is elongated. That's because the comet's moving. The comet is drifting in reference to the background stars. And even in the 4.5 minutes we've been with it, that's still enough to cause it to trail a bit. So it's going to it is moving relative to the background stars, which appear more fixed. But yeah,
Which, by the way, are nice, beautifully round stars. I must say, those are very choice.
thank you. Yeah, a little bit of drift in them, but not that bad.
He spent all day crafting those stars for us, y'all.
One by one.
He had to build these images before we got on here, so we could help prove flat Earth is wrong, right? Because we're part of NASA's shill. I mean, Stephen Hummel is even wearing a NASA shirt over there. This is proof. And I'm wearing a JPL hat. And Ron is eventually going to work for NASA, so it's all a big sham. So
yeah, my check's a little late though, so I may.
Don't forget, man, for real.
You didn't get the memo, Stephen. That $1,200, the stimulus, that was our shill money. So
that's what it was.
Cutbacks this year, gosh.
Yeah,
I never even got mine. So
that's not funny, but we're laughing at it.
People do believe that. Jeez.
We do have some questions. Tony Bendel, our good friend, says, "Will Stephen's telescope fit my budget?" We might have to put a couple zeros behind what you sent me earlier, Tony. But I will get with you after this live stream if you want, and we can go over a few things. But yeah, we're gonna have to add a couple zeros to your budget, maybe even 3. I mean, because.
Yeah, this should be a 6-digit setup for sure.
Well, yeah, especially with the dome and the location is priceless. So, yeah. So the answer is no there. It's still on the iPhone. The Comet is definitely still doing stuff on the smartphone app. Sorry. Dustin says, "Hey guys, how y'all doing tonight?" We're doing good, man. It's good to see you.
Wait, go back to that real quick. I just love that. Look how big that cannon is that he's got in his hand. That's one that he actually won from Explore Scientific on a live stream.
That's a 6-inch, right?
I'm not sure. Dusty, tell us exactly what it is. I forgot what it was. I was part of that live stream where they were giving it away, but I don't remember exactly the size of it. But I know it's a beast.
That's cool. I saw his picture like that. And I just thought he had got a nice scope, but I didn't make the connection that was the Freeman. So good job.
Yeah, man. That's that one from that live stream way back.
Glad you won it. That was like OPT and Explore Scientific, I think, right?
Yep, that's correct. Yep.
Yeah. Benjamin says there's such a disgusting amount of light pollution in PA with the advent of LED lighting. It's hard to see a lot of the night sky anymore, even nowhere near cities. Yeah. Stephen's kind of a light pollution guru, and so he knows it better than most of us. But
sure.
It's a sadly common tale. But yeah, light pollution is growing globally at about 2% per year, which is actually in the U.S. it's actually growing almost twice the rate of the population. So it's not scaling linearly with population. It's getting worse. And LEDs, there's no reason LEDs have to be a problem. With modern LEDs, as long as their color temperature, meaning their overall color is kind of more yellower, and they're aimed down and they're shielded, they're actually better and cheaper long term and more energy efficient than older lights. But unfortunately, what the trend is in the lighting industry is brighter is better, which isn't true. Brighter does not make you safer. It's actually sometimes the opposite, and it's ugly, and there's no benefit to light pollution, which is why it's basically my career to try to stop that scourge from taking us over. Anyway,
and hopefully
we use the Avengers.
Yeah.
we have Hummel Stark.
We are the Stevengers. That was what I was thinking.
The what? The Stevengers? Did you really go there? Oh my God!
I did. Yes.
It's too early on a Sunday for that nonsense. He'll
have an H on his chest instead of an S.
On your left.
I'm here to stop light pollution. He starts shooting him out with a BB gun.
Captain Planet's in the side, just giving him like the stink eye, like that's my job.
We needed you, Captain Planet. You failed us.
Yeah. I saw a lot of comments about the tail, or why doesn't it have two tails. It does have two tails. So if you saw previous images of the comet, they almost certainly were not taken at this much magnification. This is very tight of just the center. And you can see there's a tail here and then the other tail here. So we do have two tails, the dust and the ion tail. But also as it's moving, it's getting blurred. So let me reset it again. And in a single frame, the tails will be more obvious.
Well, thank you, Alexander, for telling your buddy Doug about us. we are serious, and we are this is real, 100% real image of a comet
Yeah, it's a real
right
deal.
now, live.
Okay. Yeah. But there's lots of other cool stuff to look at. And so if there's any other requests, things we can see, the deep sky objects, nebulae, if anyone has anything in particular you want to see, just let us know in the comments.
Throw them
And,
down. This is an
we'll
interesting comment while y'all are doing that. This is interesting. Vintage Venture says, my friend who is a master observer thought Neowise was much more impressive than Halley's, which is something I've kind of heard. I didn't see Halley's. I was like 2.5 years old or something at the time. So I didn't get to see it. But a lot of the older astronomers that I know were all like, yeah, it was cool, but it was kind of, it wasn't a big deal or whatever. The people that saw it with a telescope could see jets and stuff coming off of it, whatever. But interesting. I guess I didn't get to see this comet in the morning time. Did either of you guys get to see Neowise in the morning? Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was as bright. The core was as bright as Vega. It was really bright. The nucleus for a little while there, almost. And so
unbelievable. I'm sad that I missed that.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's also, it was that bright to Stephen, where Stephen is at in pristine skies. So if you are not in the middle of, nowhere with the most amazing view of the night sky ever, it might not have looked quite that bright to us, but his views are amazing. So just real quick question. Is it Halley's or Halley's? Because I've heard it both.
I've heard it both. I usually say Halley's. But
is it Hyakutake or Hayakutake? I don't know.
I don't even know that one. I really don't. Like, seriously, no, really, honestly. No, I mean that was so much, but that was so before my time. I've never, until you mentioned that earlier, I was like, that was an amazing one.
Was it 97, I think, or 96? No. It was Hale-Bopp and Hyakutake, where it was like right after each other, but I always picked up.
And Hale-Bopp was the one that was kind of a letdown. And Hyakutake was the surprise. Kind of similar to this year, where we had another. What even was it? Not Pan-STARRS, not. Is it Lemon? No, there are a bunch of comets this year. Atlas, C4 or Y4 Atlas, the one that broke apart. That was the first of like 3 in a row that were just like, it's gonna be really good, and I was like, nothing happened.
And then nobody said anything about this one. It ended up being like almost like overnight. It was, oh my god, this thing's amazing, and it looks like it's really going to stick around. That's a lucky year. I mean, that's not a. I don't think I've seen a year like this since I started, like the last 6 years.
It's been a while. The last naked eye comet we had was an evening comet in, I think, 2013 or so. The last good one from the northern hemisphere that I remember, and I keep abreast of this kind of stuff pretty well. The last several big ones have been southern hemisphere comets, which is not fair.
It's not. They got to share.
But yes, Joe, this is definitely readily available in 10 by 50s. Absolutely. They're going to reveal it pretty well because the 50 millimeter lenses are pretty good. I was seeing it. I don't even know what they are. They're like little field binoculars, like straight through, like poro prism, I think, or whatever they're called. Yeah, they're just little field binoculars, and I was seeing it easily in those.
So roof prisms are the round ones.
Anyway, are the round ones? Okay. Poro prisms are the ones that are offset.
Yeah, those are the chunky ones.
Yeah. We're nerds. Steve and I are nerds. Sorry, everybody. Thanks, Alexander. We appreciate you, dude. You're the man. Thanks for sharing us, and all of y'all who share the feed. We appreciate that. We do this for fun, and you should follow all of us on our own social medias because this is kind of a gathering place for us. But Ron has at Stardom Space down on the very bottom here. In fact, I have banners that I can put up, so y'all should just follow us all there. Stephen Hummel has at Hummel Stephen on Instagram. And and there's a Facebook now too. I think he has a Facebook, but
don't follow me there. I don't post anything.
He doesn't use it a whole lot. You message him and he responds a day and a half later. So
pretty much.
Visually, the tail extended probably 4 to 5 degrees. I guess he's talking about on Halley's. We're a little bit behind on the comments here. The ion tail. You can probably see the genesis of the ion tail, Stephen. Huh? Is that what that other tail that we're seeing?
That's what I was trying to show. I believe it's the one on top. It's hard in this narrow field of view to get a sense of it. But I believe that, the one on top is the ion and the one on the bottom is the dust. So yeah, I kind of try to position the comet up top to try to get more of the tail in there.
Alexander, I see you're asking if we can post them all. If you see that the scroll that's across the bottom of the screen, for most all of us, that's where you find us everywhere. Like I'm Stardom Space on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and pretty close to that on YouTube. It's youtube.com/C/Stardom Space. But if you put in Stardom Space together, you'll find me. It's the same thing for Will stuff. And Instagram is the only one you've really got. Correct? That's what you were saying, right, Stephen?
Yeah,
that you really care about.
That's the only one, yeah, that you're gonna find me actually using for public stuff.
Or when the McDonald Observatory opens back up, you can just go out there and visit him yourself once all this is over.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe one day.
Like, don't come see me. I'm busy.
Yeah, that's true.
Daisy says, yes, you guys are awesome. I always get excited to see you guys. Stephen, you are too cool for showing us the stars. I agree, Daisy. I agree.
Thanks.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Steve-O-Rama.
Let's go to something else.
Neo, the name Neo-wise, Alexander, comes from the near-Earth object, NEO, near-Earth object. It's a survey, and they're looking for near-Earth objects so we don't die in a massive explosion like the dinosaurs. At least that's what I understand.
It's also a clever repurpose of an old telescope. So WISE was Wide Field Infrared Survey Explorer, I think, and it basically was looking with infrared detectors, deep infrared that had to be kept really cold in order to work. And eventually, it's a spacecraft, and it ran out of coolant. It couldn't be cold anymore, and so they just kind of were like, okay, it's the end of the mission, whatever, moving on. And then they realized, well, actually, maybe not. Maybe we can repurpose it to look for comets or other near-Earth objects. And then they came up with that second acronym, and they tacked on NEO. It's basically a new WISE. It's very clever.
Okay, is that what it comes from? All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. So we have one of my favorite open clusters, young families of stars here. This is M11, the wild duck cluster.
Because it clearly looks like a pack of wild ducks.
Absolutely. It's unmistakable.
You know,
if you don't see it, what's your problem?
It is pretty recognizable as that, though, because of that bright star sort of up at the top, like 12 o'clock position. That thing is pretty, you see a lot of open clusters with some bright stars, but like that one's pretty iconic, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
For a Messier object anyways, yeah.
Yeah, let me try to see if I can get the colors a little more accurate. It's a little too blue, I think. I'm trying to turn down the blue. There it goes. Okay, that's a little better. Yeah, so it's got that bright star in there, and it's actually an imposter star. It's not part of this cluster. So we have a big family of stars. They all kind of formed at roughly the same time and place. And then this guy is just photobombing. He's just in the way.
He's just in the way, yeah. Passing through. He's just passing on through. It's closer to us, I'm guessing, than Stephen, huh? Or is it?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's a little closer.
So it's definitely crossing either up or down or one of the ways. It's kind of just moving on past.
Yep, drifting on by very slowly.
Mr. George Lutch in the house. What's up, George? Good to see you. Won't be seeing any of my homies out at Okie-Tex this year. The Okie-Tex Star Party is canceled, which is unfortunate, but under the circumstances, probably not a bad idea. Scorpius might be a little too low, Dakota, but we will put that
M7.
M7 is what he's looking for.
I think I can do.
That is a beautiful cluster, though.
That's Ptolemy's cluster, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's really big.
It's a big old X.
Yeah, it's we're gonna be using only part of the mirror, but we can do it. Let's go there.
Okay. Getting through some of these comments really quick here. 2013 evening comment that Will mentioned was C 2011 L4 Pan-STARRS. Okay. Okay. There's been so many that, man, especially with all these numbers, it's like I can't even keep up. Liz says, "Hi friends, yay for finally clear night in West Texas. Monsoon season would be during a comet pass by." Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
it's been here. Straight, I mean, just like nonstop rain. I was going to try to mow the grass, and I can't get out there to do it. Every time it almost dries up, it just, I mean, so the grass is like 9 feet tall out there. But
this is the first really good night we've had in a while. We've had like workable nights, but generally it's not been that great lately.
all the way around, Johnny watching from Brazil. Yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't see the comet from here. Yeah, you're a little too far south, man. But glad we could bring you some views of the comet, even if they were just digital, but they were live shots of the comet. So,
yeah, there's M7. So big it doesn't even fit in this small field of view. You can tell that I'm only using part of the mirror because we have an extra diffraction spike. It's got an extra spike there. That's from the dome wall. It's the wall that's causing that spike. So it's kind of half the mirror isn't in use.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But even at half the mirror, it's still a 10-inch scope. That's still a nice amount of aperture on there.
Basic, yeah.
That minus the secondary too. I mean, but how big is the secondary on that scope? I mean, it's a RC, so it's most of the primary, huh?
It's 6.5 inches across or something like that, the diameter. So in terms of percentage, it's like maybe 10% of the area of the mirror.
Gotcha.
Or like 15 or something like that.
Vintage says, "I do have a question. Will Earth travel into the dust particles left behind from Neowise, considering it had such a great tail, or am I being overly hopeful for a meteor storm?" I think you're being a little optimistic there. I think the way, yeah, because if we're looking at the sun, this is Earth. Neowise's tail is my finger. It's kind of doing this. So, you know, we're way over here, and the tail is going to be pointing kind of up and away from us. So I don't think so. That'd be cool, though. That'd be very cool.
Yeah. Maybe in future years, as the dust kind of spreads around the solar system, we may encounter it. It's possible, but I don't think it's going to be anything noticeable anytime soon.
Yeah, not from that particular trajectory. There are comets that cross Earth's path all the time. We get those every year. Comets like Swift-Tuttle, Halley's. I mean, there's a few comets, but that's where we get all our meteor showers from. The Lyrids, the Perseids, the Disappointeds, whichever one you want to go see. They're all from
still
comets.
my faves is the Disappointeds. It will never not be funny.
Well, look at there. What is this globular cluster there, Stephen?
It's M22.
M22.
In Sagittarius. Great big glob. One of my favorite globs. It's got a lot of interesting stars. Let me try to see if I can. No, that's too blue. Not doing a great job balancing the colors automatically. I kind of have to mess with it a little bit.
How you doing, Nora? Good to see you. Riley says wild ducks. Yeah. The old wild duck cluster. If you're going to do your Messier list, you got to see the wild ducks. Of course, you'll see that last cluster and you'll see this cluster. Summertime is cluster season also. I should say like late summer, early or spring, early summer is galaxy season. But again, there are some awesome clusters. But yeah, as summer gets older and we start heading towards fall, clusters abound in the Milky Way. Oh man, there's so many.
So many.
So.
My God, it's full of stars.
No, Mark Jackson, we could never see Titan or Enceladus. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we can and we will.
We can and we might. What? And we
you say
no, we will.
You say enchiladas?
Huh?
You say enchiladas? Now I'm hungry.
Yeah, it's enchiladas. That's how you say that moon. I'm telling you.
Wouldn't that be amazing if we got there and under the ice was just like the most amazing Mexican food ever? Like, welcome to the greatest. Like, well, hello. Welcome to the most delicious underwater restaurant you've ever been to.
Shout out to my friend Brandon Foster here, local, just down the road from me. How you doing, Brandon? Good to see you, man. bought him a scope not long ago, Celestron something or other.
That was nice of you.
Well, no, he bought himself.
I know. You bought him a scope not too long ago. Like, that's nice of you.
Oh yeah, I know. He can buy me a scope. That's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. But yeah, I hope you're getting out with it, Brandon, and getting some Comet time. And if not, let me know, and I can help you through that. Be glad to help you. We're gonna do the planets, but right now we're doing the pillars of creation. It looks like, which is
the Eagle Nebula M16.
M16, not the assault rifle, but the Assault Nebula.
So I got a question for you guys. If people are watching, and they don't know where to find details on what's up in the night sky right now, is there an app they can maybe look up? Maybe not on their phone, but on their computer or anything, where they can look and see what's up and maybe throw us some ideas.
Yes, my first quick suggestion is Stellarium. I mean, it's free and it works on Mac or PC, Linux. There's really no reason why everyone here shouldn't have Stellarium, in my opinion.
Stellarium.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I
agree with you. It's amazing. It was the first one I ever got. And what I like about it is I don't exactly know how it does it, but I didn't have Wi-Fi at one point when I was using it, and it knew exactly where I was, which confuses me still to this day. Trust me, where we were at had absolutely no Wi-Fi, and I'm telling you right now, I lived in Colorado, and it did not show me in Colorado. It showed me exactly where I was in Nepal, and I don't know how I did it. No, I mean, unless there was just like such a small amount of Wi-Fi that it was just enough for it to figure out where I was, but I hadn't had Wi-Fi in like 36 hours. So wow. I would be surprised that in the middle of the night there was that there was the possibility of that. But I'm still confused.
It's quite confusing. Those apps know where we are at all times. They know where we are better than we do. How you doing, Mike? Yep. Marco says awesome M22. I agree. All the Messiers are amazing. And this one right here, as the color comes in, Stephen, is just amazing.
Right. Yeah. As you talk about it, I'm moving on to the next thing. But
we'll take one last gander at the pillars of. Oh, there it goes.
a gander. Sorry.
Just a gander in the wild duck cluster. But we went to the Trifid. Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh.
A little noisy, but it'll get smoothed out pretty quickly.
We'll go through some comments as we're looking at that. Nora says, I'm good things are open here, but we got to mandatory wear masks. We're still social distancing. Same thing over here, Nora. We're doing the mask thing. We're doing the hey, get away from me thing, Mm-hmm. Don't sneeze on me. Sneezing isn't a symptom though, but we got to do what we got to do to get through it, and then we can go back to normal and seeing each other's faces, which I don't know. I've enjoyed the mask thing. I feel like a ninja everywhere I go.
Right.
It's a thing, isn't it? There's a lot of body language, a lot of things that you see in somebody's, their mouth and the way they look at you and stuff.
True.
But having to just really read all that from somebody's eyes
and inflection, absolutely.
Yeah. It shows you how much the eyes can tell you.
You're 100% right. You're 100% right. Yeah, and
usually.
It's what's really hard is going to a restaurant and eating through the mask, though. I haven't quite worked that out. I've been drinking through mine, but I don't recommend that.
Yeah, it's got a little.
Put the straw in your mouth under your mask. Don't put it through the mask. Just letting you know.
There's a really good one I saw. It's GIF and shows this woman, and you see her, and she's looking around, she's checking everybody out. And she's got the split in the middle of her cloth mask, so she eats her sandwich when she's still got her mask on. It cracked me up, man. It was such a good one. And somebody took the video through the window, so they made it look even more like she was getting caught. I mean, it was a setup, but it's still a really good one.
Tony brings up an interesting point. He says that the Delta Aquariids and the Alpha Capricornids are this week. I don't ever recall those being particularly active. Am I wrong, Stephen?
No, they're not much to really see, honestly. So don't get your hopes up for those.
Yeah, don't get your hopes up, Tony. But I can tell you that in August, is it the Perseids? I believe it is.
Mm-hmm. That's the best one of the year.
That's my favorite.
It's one everybody else
Tony, right now, go to one of my YouTube channels, use my affiliate link, and buy you a Sony A7S Mark II. Okay, but get a Sony A7S Mark II. Go out there and set it on ISO 80,000 and just let it roll. And you will video meteors, I promise you. The Perseids are always fun. And they're usually pretty bright too. I feel like the Perseids that I got the last couple years were, long, bright, and slow. I know that sounds weird, but if you're a meteor observer, you know that some of them are like, and you're like, whoa, what was that? You be staring right at the thing and barely. I mean, it was just like, or you'll see them just, and you're like, oh, So they have different compositions. They have different velocities, different angles of attack into our atmosphere. And that has everything to do with how quick or how bright or whatever they are. So, yeah, you'll get different ones from different, meteor showers, which is pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah. I saw a request for the ring. I also saw a request for Barnard's Galaxy. I don't think Barnard's Galaxy is going to show up very well with the moon up and these conditions, but we can definitely do the ring nebula.
Dakota's bringing out some great requests. I mean, you guys in the chat room, y'all need to one up Dakota. I mean, that's he's the guy to beat right now.
Looks like we're getting some interference from somebody.
Oh, that's the dome.
Oh, that's what it was. I can't see you anymore, so I didn't know. But
he's in there somewhere in the deep dark.
Hey guys, don't forget, if you're watching
Wilds.
Deep Sky Dude there on YouTube, you can show your support with a super sticker or super chat. Buy the man a coffee. He loves coffee, and astronomy. So he's always down for that's how he stays up all night and does these awesome images and stuff for you.
That's right. Yeah, I like to stay awake, and coffee is my Achilles heel. Thank you, man.
Coffee.
I love watching the Deep Sky Dude because he drinks coffee and then he talks about the observable universe, and it's the best thing probably ever. Okay.
Look at the color, man. Oh, dude.
Quick.
That is amazing, Stephen. Look at that.
Thanks. Yeah.
Hey, go back. I'm just kidding.
Take it back.
No, that's awesome. Either way, it was awesome.
Just a lot of fussing around with this camera to make sure everything's.
I don't think I've ever seen it where the star in the middle was that bright before.
That's what aperture does for you. Yeah.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah. In a telescope, when you look at the Ring Nebula, you'll see about that, sometimes even smaller. But exactly what Ron just brought up is true. In a visual telescope, anything under 20 inches of aperture, you're never going to see that central star unless you're in, at the top of Kilimanjaro, and you have like a 12-inch telescope. It's just perfect conditions. It's too small to resolve or too dim.
Is this something you can see in the Southern Hemisphere?
Yeah, I think you can see the ring. My buddies from Australia said they could see this. I think so. Yeah, it's low.
Perfect.
Lyra is low up there, but
okay.
But it is there. But yeah, the bigger aperture you go. Now, I have seen the central star in a 20 or 25-inch telescope, but I don't think I've ever seen it in anything smaller. What about you, Stephen? Have you ever seen the central star in something smaller?
Yeah, I guess I think I've seen it in an 18-inch telescope. But
okay.
You need good seeing too, otherwise the light will be all smeared around.
Yeah, and it's just super faint. In fact, I think you're almost more readily able to see that star at like, what is that, 7, 8 o'clock from the central star. That one actually comes out, I think, better than the central one, and I guess that has something to do with the type of light that central star is emitting, though, since it's it's a planetary nebula.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that one shows up more, but why don't we try something different? Something we've never done before.
Ooh, but before you go, you are getting that little galaxy, that little IC galaxy down there to the left.
Yeah, I'm going to sit on this for a little while longer, but
I can just see the core.
Down there. Yeah, look at the
there you go.
up
exactly
and everything.
Right there. Yeah,
and a color camera. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a lot less sensitive than the monochrome camera I usually use, but the color is just so cool. Look at that.
I know the color, man. I mean that reddish outer shell. In fact, in Jimmy Lowry's 48-inch, we were seeing some pinks in the Ring Nebula. I can't say I necessarily saw reds, but I definitely saw that bluish turn to a pink.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's really subtle. And for those who aren't aware, I mean, when you look at stuff like this in a telescope, you don't really see color almost ever, except for really bright things like planets and really bright stars. That's just because your night vision is not really color vision. Your daytime vision is in color, but at night you're using a different part of your eye, which is more sensitive, but doesn't perceive color nearly as well, or even at all. So usually these things are just too faint for you to activate the color part of your eye. But of course, a larger telescope gathers more light, and so generally speaking, the bigger telescopes will show more color. But it takes a really, really massive telescope to show pinks and reds, especially this faint, because our eyes are least sensitive to red, which is partly why astronomers use red lights at night to kind of illuminate, because they don't ruin their night vision. But the thing I want to show you next, if I can, is going to be really tricky. So bear with me here.
I like it.
It's a satellite.
Oh, yes, because we've got to talk about this little mount. This mount behind him is actually capable of tracking satellites.
Yes. So it's going to take some patience, and we don't have the ISS or Hubble or anything interesting tonight passing over. We do have just found
show us the Starlink. I'm just kidding.
I don't know if there's a pass. I didn't check. I don't want to. This is a Cosmos rocket booster, and let's see here.
Hopefully it's a tumbling one and we can see some flashes.
Maybe. I don't know.
If you ever see a flashing satellite, guys, it's not aliens that the Pentagon is releasing. It's a tumbling rocket body. That's all it is.
Can we say? Are we sure about that?
No,
after this week's announcement?
I have comments on that. Because Tony's here and I want to say some things.
Because Tony's here, it's time we talk about some stuff. But I do have to say, it's like, did we really want to give Joe Rogan more ammo? Because now he's like, oh, well, blah, 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 that was on my show, told you all the truth forever ago. I'm like, I don't know if they went quite that far. And saying that guy, everything that guy was saying was true. But I'm still interested to see what it actually is that they're gonna put out there. What's up, CS Astro Outreach? I'm guessing that is David Warner. Had a star party last night that they did a bunch of great stuff. I was actually supposed to be a part of it and had to end up doing stuff with the boss man from SFDC. But I know they were going to look at Comet NEO-wise and kind of help people find it in the night sky while they still can. And that's going on once a month now, and that's free for people. You can just sign up for a GoToWebinar, and we're going to start live streaming it and doing some other things. We just had to work out some issues because GoToWebinar does not like to be live streamed. It doesn't matter how you do it. Like if you do a screen capture, it won't. You have to take the entire display capture. It won't even allow you to snag the window. It won't show anything. So that's been a bit of an issue for us. But I know that they were doing some great stuff last night. So hopefully some people got to check that out.
Awesome stuff, man. Yeah, if you're in an area that has a local astronomy club like the Colorado Springs Astronomical Society, you've got to get in those groups. They're amazing. You'll meet great people. You'll learn some cool things. Is that the satellite off to the right there, Stephen?
Yeah. Hold on.
Euro.
Let me get it, because the mount's moving. It's still in the shadow of the Earth mostly.
So that's why it was like nice and dim. But I see the stars kind of flying by. Oh.
Yeah, it's gonna take me a second. I said this is really hard. I gotta like zero it in first.
Yeah, this little tiny object is only moving at like 17,000 miles an hour. So this isn't exactly easy stuff, y'all. But he'll get it, and you know what I'll do? I'll put it right there. So we'll get to some comments here while we got some time. Take Time says I use Night Sky and Sky Safari. Hello again from PA. I've never used Night Sky. I'm not exactly sure what that is or what platform, but that sounds interesting.
That's new to me too. I don't think I've heard of it either.
Yeah, it might be the Night Sky app. I've heard of that. I feel like, but I've never used it. Perseids, Geminids, and the Orionids are the best ones according to Dakota. I would agree. The Geminids are one of my favorites. The think I've done a couple of videos of that on my channel with the Sony A7S. Again, just parking the camera, let it roll, see what happens. It's like going fishing. Throw the rod in the water and see what you catch, you know? You don't throw the rod in the water. That would be a bad way to fish.
Is that innuendo?
No.
I was concerned for a minute.
Not at all. Aaron says, ugh. ZWO camera comes later this week, and it's pretty cloudy the entire week. Well, yeah, Aaron, as soon as you order a new camera or a telescope or whatever, that's how it goes. The clouds come. We can all thank Aaron for ordering a new camera for all the clouds and stuff. So there you go. Dumbbell Nebula is one of my favorites in the summer sky. I agree. The Dumbbell is a fantastic planetary nebula. We did that one last time, but we may be able to do it again.
And just want to make a quick note. I see that somebody is sending private messages to Deep Sky Dude asking some questions. And during a live stream like this, it's difficult.
I got it.
What?
I got the satellite.
Okay, is it down here? Oh, there it is.
What? Shut up. That's awesome.
So you see the stars are drifting by. So this thing is like booking it across the sky.
Look at that.
What was the streak that just went through?
Those are stars.
That was the star. Okay, so that was the star. Well, that was the first one I saw that was.
It's in warp speed.
Yeah. Ludicrous speed. Go. But I'm sorry. What I was going to say was if you're doing messages and private messages, it's difficult for us to see them. So make sure you throw them in the chat so that way we can answer them there. It's just a little bit easier for us to see them.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, man.
I'm not getting those. That's weird. But maybe it's because I have my phone. I don't know. I don't have it connected to Wi-Fi, so that might be it.
Yeah, I was checking a message on mine whenever I saw it popped up like Deep Sky Dude has a question about. Then it was John asking if you were tracking a satellite. How do you keep the dome in the right? And then it cuts off because it's in my notifications. So I don't read the whole
automated,
thing.
Right, Stephen?
Yeah, but it's not automated really for satellites. So I had to just manually push the button. I tried to pick a satellite that went straight up and then straight down the dome. So, nice. This one, the whole pass here is only lasted a few minutes. Now it's setting, and you can see it's getting dimmer.
And you can see the scope in the back of Stephen's view down below here. You can see it's basically pointed out.
Yeah,
almost lateral now.
Yeah, it's mostly aimed at the wall now because of how low it is. So yeah, it was only up really high for. Yeah, see, it's gone. It's gone.
It's gone.
So it was only up in the top part of the sky for about 45 seconds or so, and then it, got really low. So yeah. Hopefully next time, I can center it up faster. It's hard because I have to move the telescope and adjust the camera and move the dome.
Yeah, there ain't nothing easy about what he just did. But at one point, Stephen got a video of the International Space Station flying over, and I think didn't you share it on Stardom, Ron? I think this is like a year ago.
Yeah,
when you did the ISS, Stephen.
It was a while back. Yeah, it was with the telescope.
I don't think that we knew each other. Now I will say. I had Mark Leatham who just did a takeover on Stardom. So if you go to at Stardom Space on Instagram, there is actually a video. He did a time lapse in California of Neowise, and at one point the ISS flies over and crisscrosses with the tail of it. So it's kind of like almost like a really like sexily drawn kind of like plus sign in the sky, and nice. It's a really great video, man. He the shots that he had of that killed it on Twitter. I mean, last time I saw it, I think it's probably the most popular one he's had. Just the picture alone had like 3,500 likes on it. On Twitter, you don't see that a whole lot. You can see that a whole lot more on Instagram for sure, where it's like really a picture driven place. But Twitter, that's not necessarily there's so much on the hashtag Comet Neowise right now. So I'm really glad some people got to see what he was up to. His work's excellent.
Yeah, and Liz asked a question that ties into that greatly because apparently this guy did. I saw it in my video on YouTube of the comet. That video got it's almost at 10,000 views, which for my videos on YouTube, that's insane. That you don't usually go that high. Yeah. But it was a comet and the ISS just sort of went, and I didn't know that was going to happen. This guy might have predicted it and put himself in a better position because had I known, I could have put myself in a better position to actually get it to cross. But I mean, you just never know about these things. And the skies have been so bad lately, at least here in where I'm at in Texas, that it was the one night that I got, and I was like, man, I don't even want to go out and do astronomy right now because I got other stuff to do. But it's like I have to. You know, sometimes you're compelled, right? And you have to get it done. And sometimes these guys get it done.
But yeah, so just real quick for the question that just popped up there. If you scroll back down on Stardom Space 10, it's like the 10th post down from the top. You'll see that video of what he shot, and it's beautiful. And also see a quick note that Dave from CS Astro Outreach that we see popping up there in the comments. Wealth of knowledge. If you ask this question and we miss it and he answers it, you were not going to go wrong. That guy does, I don't remember how many hundreds of hours of outreach for CS Astro every year. It might even be in the thousands. It's crazy how much he does.
Awesome.
So he's like our main outreach guy at our local astronomical society.
Very cool. I switched to Steven's camera there just to show how fast that camera flew, man. That was ludicrous speed, you know.
I can slow it up to 50 degrees per second, which nothing that weighs this much has any right to move that fast.
Yeah, 50 degrees a second.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Pure and utter madness, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
It is absolutely insane.
So I'm trying to get U6 Lemon, the Comet.
Oh, cool. My buddy Bob Snyder had that suggestion. So we're going to see what we can see. Joe Richard says UFOs are real. Sure, but that doesn't mean they are alien. Mm-hmm. Something can be fine and you don't know what it is. Doesn't mean it came from Zeta Reticuli. That was the cosmic egg right there. Dean says, am I correct? Larger aperture allows for better images at higher magnifications. I think so, yeah. It gives you better resolution, gets you more light. And usually with bigger aperture comes higher focal length, meaning higher magnification.
That's true. Not always, but usually.
Yeah, because like a Rasa.
Yeah.
Which is, there's some kind of devil magic going on in that, I think.
Those things are nuts.
There's some kind of witchcraft.
Witchcraftery, guys.
All right, so this is a fainter one, much fainter. And I'm having a hard time stacking on it.
And John, he answered that question earlier with just trying to find one that was sort of from sky to sky, side to side on there. Yeah, but it is there, Stephen. I can make out the coma and the diffuse core it's actually pretty stellar, honestly.
Yeah, it's very stellar. Let me retry. It's not detecting enough stars to stack with, which is an annoying problem. Sometimes has with fainter stars. But yeah, I mean, you can clearly see the comet's there next to this bright star. There's this little fuzzy thing and a little halo, and yep, that's 2019 U6 Lemon.
So, Stephen, quick question for you, because I know we're on a new setup tonight, and I know you mentioned it earlier, and you may have mentioned it more recently, and I maybe somehow missed it. But for those that don't know, what are you on tonight? Because this isn't the regular setup, right? This isn't what we normally do live streams with.
That's correct. Yeah, this is a 20-inch f8 Ritchie-Chrétien telescope, and it's on a Planewave L500, which is a great mount when it works. It's working mostly tonight. And I'm in a fancy automated dome as well. This telescope was made possible by Las Cumbres Observatory Global Telescope, which is founded by a former Apple and Google engineer who now basically spends his time building telescopes, education and outreach. Very, very nice setup. Yeah, again, it's a 6-digit setup. The camera, though, is actually not all that expensive. It's a ZWO 071 MC Pro. It's color CMOS sensor.
So that actually brings up a question, and maybe you know the answer to this, Stephen. So say that there's an organization that wants to maybe work with an organization like that one, get a telescope set up and do outreach, say maybe like a space museum might be interested in one. How does one go about talking to somebody about that, or like setting it up, getting grants, those kind of things? Because astronomy is certainly something that is important to the Discovery Center, but for me, it's even more important, and we're doing more and more things. And that's one of the reasons I love it, is that they're open to all the new ideas. And we currently so there's Jeff Gagne, who is one of our SESs, and as well our lead SES, Keith. Both are fans of astronomy, telescopes, and doing that, and we want to do more. Like, that's certainly something we want to do, but we wouldn't be too mad about having something, a cool setup. Maybe not something in the 6-figure range, but
Yeah.
nonetheless, we're not McDonald Observatory, but we got some nice skies.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. I don't have to run to the wall anymore. The button is right by my chair on this one.
Yeah, exactly.
The great thing about LCO is that they are remotely accessible. If you know about SLOOH, SLOOH, they're kind of a network where amateur astronomers can pay to have access to these telescopes. LCO-GT is like that, but for researchers and academics, and also outreach as well. So they do a lot of great stuff. You can go to their website and you can learn more about exactly what they do. They have supported high schools. I believe just CO.
Sorry to interrupt the stream for everybody else and just be like, I need the information. Tell me, man. Tell me what I need to know. I need to know who to talk to, my friend.
LCO.global.
Global. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Benjamin's wondering if you could catch the new Chinese probe that's going to Mars with this scope. I guess you could if it was on the right side of the Earth, but I think that thing might be on a downward trajectory toward the southern. Am I wrong about that? I don't know.
I'm not sure really where it would be right now.
But you could theoretically, if it was reflecting sunlight, but I would assume that probe isn't very big. It's probably, even it with the rocket body that's attached to it still to get it to Mars, I wouldn't think it was very big.
I mean, how fast would it, what was that, 3 or 4 days ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean,
it's a good past the moon probably, or on its way past the moon.
That's a good question. I don't really know the setup of like the rocket or anything. China is just a mystery to me when it comes to what their program is really doing. I hear a lot of stuff about them just launching and a lot of their debris falling in other countries. They're not, they're just launching. They're like, we're going to get to the moon and we're going to do 15 launches a month till we get there. I'm like, whoa, and just space junk everywhere, right?
And they're not very open with it like NASA is. So
they don't have to be.
Yeah, I don't have any like coordinates for that. I don't know where to look exactly to see it.
Yeah, I don't think they're even putting that kind of stuff out there because, they don't want anybody to sabotage their mission probably.
In theory, if I look hard enough.
Yeah, you could probably find it. But yeah, I think that's the rocket they're using is called the Long March or something like that. It's it looks like an Ariane 5 or whatever, the one that the ESA uses.
Yeah, their Long March rockets are pretty strange compared to others, especially how they launch over land, like you were saying. Like the boosters, they fall back on land. They don't launch over the ocean like pretty much all other rockets do. That's just a quirk of geography. This is M3. I see we've got some requests for the Dumbbell Nebula. Did I miss any earlier?
There was a few, but I think the one that stood out was that comet that we just hit.
Yeah.
There was one for the Hercules cluster, which I think is up. We could do that one after this one. And which one did you say this one was, Stephen?
This is M3.
M3, okay.
Yeah. Very similar. M13 is gonna be a little bigger, but it'll look nice. Let's do the dumbbell. Let's go over
the dumbbell,
there. Yeah. And then M13, and then the planets.
Oh yes, we have to see the planets. It's been so long.
That was actually, I think somebody had asked that much earlier if there was anything that we could see tonight. And, I meant to mention it too, so I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I would say we should be able to see both Saturn and Jupiter. We were only like a couple days from opposition from Saturn, right?
Yeah.
I was like 3-4 days ago.
Yeah.
Something
and
like that.
any time within 2 or so weeks of opposition. It's really
They're beautiful.
good.
Yeah.
I mean, we're on that side of the solar system, and then we'll go away from it. So it's like right now we're as close as we're going to get to Jupiter and Saturn, and then we're going to keep kind of going further away as we go around the sun. So.
And guys, don't if you're listening in, don't forget if you want to ask those questions that are on the lower end, because that's where I'm at. I'm the amateur of the amateur astronomers. But having the wealth of knowledge that you have with these two guys right here, man, just there is no stupid questions. I ask beginner questions all the time, and that's how I learn, either here or on with Dustin over at OPT Telescopes on Gibson Picks on Twitch. I know that was a lot there at Gibson Picks on Twitch, which is the CEO of Op Telescopes. They do a very, very in-depth breakdown of everything from the gear to the different remote telescopes that they have, astrophotography, and it is mostly French to me. But there's a lot that people are willing to ask or willing to answer, both in the live chats just like ours, and obviously with the stream. So always feel free to throw those questions out there. I'll probably end up learning something too. So thanks for helping me out.
Yeah, like Ron said, there really is no dumb questions. I mean, Stephen and I have some knowledge, but we've acquired, whatever word you want to use.
Both.
Yeah, all that. We, over the years we've gathered the stones, and there's still things that he and I learn on the daily, and y'all's, what you think might be a simple question, it might be a great question, and it could help other people understand stuff a little better. So we, any questions y'all have, we would love to field them. And if you want to know why Pluto isn't a planet, like if you want us to explain the politics behind that we don't know. It's just the thing. If you want us to explain dark matter, and how it works, we don't know that either. No scientists don't know that, So they're working on those things, and we're waiting. We're waiting for y'all as well, for the info as well. So Megan says she shared the video. Thank you, Megan. You are awesome. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Stephen Winter says, how much of the veil can you get in the scope? The last time we did a stream, we did the veil, and you can only get like a small section of it in there.
Yeah, very small.
The veil is massive, man. Much, much larger than, say, the dumbbell here.
Yeah.
And I don't mean Ron, I mean the nebula.
What did you say? Well, what was the joke? I was looking at Slew.
I knew he wasn't paying attention.
What are you picking on me for?
No, I didn't say nothing.
I can go back to the stream after it's over and back it up and find it, right?
Back that thing up. But no, this is the Dumbbell Nebula, and
what had happened was
no, this is a fun object. So this is basically this is sort of what our sun is going to look like in about 4 billion years or so. Don't wait around. But if you do wait around, this is what you might see while you're on your way out.
This guy.
Which guy?
You, that guy.
Oh, that guy. Okay.
Over there. Hey, go over here. Hey, yo, what's going on over here?
Get over here with your shirt and your pants.
Your shirt and your pants. Bring over your shirt and your pants. Let's do this.
Dakota says, dream job working in an observatory, currently studying astrophysics. Well, you've got Stephen's got your dream job then, because that's exactly what he's doing right now. I mean, he's not working, but
yeah.
Or is he?
I'm not. Yeah,
I'm on the clock. Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Tag McDonald Observatory earlier. Don't get me on that. This is work, buddy.
It's like, it'd be funny if there was actually one of those things on the wall that's like a clock with the little thing. Just like, okay, what's going on?
I can write about 15 minutes of this just to prove that the telescope works off as
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like write it off as research, right?
It is.
Yeah, we hadn't used this telescope in a few months since we've been closed. So yeah,
I was saying, this is outreach, man. There are tons of people watching.
Absolutely,
outreach all day. How many people have we heard tonight say, "I've had really cloudy skies. I've not been able to see Comet Neowise. This is great."
But look at the image that we're getting here, and I mean, Bob's comment just sums it up so well. I mean, the fact that we're looking at a planetary nebula. We do this so much on this stream. I think us dudes on the panel here, me, Ron, and Steven are kind of, we get kind of jaded to this stuff. But to some people, they don't get to see this kind of stuff at all, much less live and through a telescope, readily. So this is pretty amazing stuff. And again, Stephen, thank you for showing us these objects as we go along on these adventures with you. Without you, it would just be us three blabbering on about how bad Starlink is, so.
All right. Yeah, thank you for hosting them too, because this is a great platform. Let's do M13.
Thank you, Ron, for hanging out.
Yeah.
I was like, thank you for hosting, man. This is really great. Thank you, man, for showing us the nice guys. Thanks, Ron, for the occasional joke.
Thanks, Ron, for being the third wheel.
Thank you, Ron, for being the third wheel.
Hey, but tricycles don't work without that third wheel, man. Hey.
Apologize. I didn't mean it that way. I didn't mean that.
I shouldn't have added you back into the stream, but I did to show people. B-Ball for Life says,
I'm just going to keep going.
That's the wild duck cluster going by. CS Astro says, every night I'm looking at things in the night sky. I'm learning something new. Exactly. Yeah. Yep. No, it's just like anything you do in life. You will never know it all about that thing. Like a guitar. I've been playing guitar for 20-something years. I know a third of what I should know. And even people that have been playing for 50 years know nothing compared to what you can know about the guitar. It's an insanely deep world. And that's just one thing. Astronomy is even deeper. There's even more mysteries out there than, what string you should hit at a certain time.
I remember hearing something like way back in the day from a guy, one of the DJs that trained me, and he said that Eddie Van Halen took a guitar lesson in every city that he went to on tour.
Wow.
Just to because there's always somebody that knows something new. Now, I never looked that up, so please do and tell me if I'm wrong or not. But
could be true.
What if even if it wasn't true, at the time it wasn't something I was going to go and immediately Google anything that guy said. He was a mentor to me. It was a great way for me to see Eddie Van Halen. I'm not really the biggest Van Halen fan, but to be the best guitarist in the world, which he certainly was for a good amount of time to many people, arguably the greatest in the world at the time. To hear something like that makes you realize that, you want to keep always learning. And it's great to hear because and I got to give a shout out to Dave for the fact that, about a month ago, there was the very first virtual star party with CS Astro. And then Dave has just gone all in since then, trying to find new things. Got a green screen, got a new microphone, started working with changing his backgrounds,
awesome.
Different ways to do live streams. Yeah, he's really, really thrown his hat into the ring for it. And it's awesome to see. We were talking yesterday about some stuff. So there's always something to learn. And then that's going to give him the ability to do more outreach because we can't go out right now and show people the night sky. So it's going to be great to see what he does with it next.
That's exactly right, Ron. You nailed it. Outreach now is this. This is outreach. And if we don't continue to do what we're doing, then people aren't going to get astronomy. And so it is extremely important. And, I'd be glad to help. I know probably Stephen would too. I know Ron knows a lot about live streaming nowadays in the current climate. So reach out to us and we'd love to help you guys if y'all want to join on and get into, sharing astronomy in some way. It's important. It really is. I believe in it. I know Ron believes in it, and I definitely know Stephen believes in it.
Speaking of a very important question, B-Ball for Life says, what do you guys think about flat earthers? We don't think about them.
Question, but
we don't think about them because we have telescopes and we can see that the universe is out there and that things are round because that's how gravity works. So we don't believe that. No, that's ridiculous.
Exactly.
Moving on, not to you, B-Ball for Life.
I was going to say the exact same thing. I was going to be like, we don't. Next question.
That's not to you. That's for them.
That's for them. Not
wait. So all right. I appreciate this. There was a follow up to how he said it's like, you guys think the flat Earth movement is dangerous. I think anything that is that anti-science and is promoting ignorance and those same people are the same people that are negating the rest of science. They're going to be the anti-maskers, the anti-vaxxers, all that other stuff that says, I don't care what science says, which I cannot believe that I heard that come from.
Agenda. Everything. If you allow yourself to, everything is an agenda.
Yep.
Light.
And there's no way you're going to be able to change their mind either. They are convinced by it, and everything you say, there's going to be if your logic moves into that realm to where you're going to snatch onto something crazy because it gives you that, I knew there was a conspiracy. I knew there was something. And we live in a world where there absolutely is conspiracies. I mean, come on. We've all been following this Epstein stuff, right? I'm not saying he didn't kill himself, but,
I even tilted my head with you. I was like,
yeah. I'm just, but seriously, obviously these crazy things do go on, so it's really difficult to go back and forth between them. But it is simple for you to figure out some of these things, like how does climate science work? There's a lot of really great videos by people that have 10 plus years in their field, and before that it was 8 to 12 years of schooling and education and research and learning how to do it. Those people are out there and they're doing great things, showing you, educating you on this stuff, on how we understand that the earth is warming, how we understand that the earth is round, how we know that this is how we worked on the radiation problem, to get people to the moon. Like these things, there's also people that break down and give you sources on how, like it would have been more expensive to fake the moon landing than just going to the moon. And there's quite a few great videos that, like, man, this really makes some sense.
And that's the thing, Ron, is you nailed it right there. Always check your sources. If a source is telling you that masks are bad for some carbon monoxide rate, check the source. Where does that ultimate source come from? And is there any validity to that original source? If the source tells you the sky is blue, but you can't go outside that day to check the source, and then go test it for yourself.
So there was something I was thinking about the other day, and I'd be interested in the thoughts of people here. I think there should be different colors of check marks on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you're a personality and you're somebody famous like Katy Perry or anybody else, I'm not saying that Katy Perry said anything like anti-science or anything like that. I'm just saying, here's a celebrity. Here's Kevin Hart. And Kevin Hart's amazing at what he does. And Kevin Hart is super funny and stuff like that, but he gets a blue check mark for being a celebrity. But if you are a real quality space news organization, or you're somebody that is like Dr. Johansson, who breaks things down, or Physics Girl, or Emily Calandrelli, or all these people that are really in depth in their research and presenting you with what we know as the current understanding of the universe. Things like that, that should be a different color next to it, like a green color next to it, or organizations that are promoting science. And that is a way to kind of combat that. And for the last time, Netflix, stop putting Ancient Aliens in the same category as the great courses, Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about quarks. Those are not the same things. Quit it. I'm not messing with yours, Tony. I'm not messing with yours, Tony. You're a journalist. I understand, like there's a little bit of difference there. No, I'm saying, like, with journalism, I think that journalism should be in there too. If you're looking at something that, there's going to be, I'm not talking about the far left or the far right. I'm talking about the ones that are really practicing true, honest journalism, where it's like, we're going to give you the facts. We're going to attempt to try and be as unbiased as we can. And here's what it is. It should be the same thing with, again, with space news, with science communicators. There's a lot there that I think can be improved in highlighting those voices, and then also making sure that those voices are heard. If you hear something silly about the Earth being flat, who's a great person to talk to? Kevin De Bruin. He was a rocket scientist for NASA JPL. If that guy gives you a breakdown YouTube video of why the Earth is round, that's a guy you can listen to. He knows what he's talking about.
Exactly. And people for life agrees with this. So, but good. But no, and what Ron said is all true. But like, look at this image of Jupiter right here that Stephen dialed in 10 seconds. Do you know how long that would take to fake? It would take years to do. And look, the great red spot is out. Look at that. It's just
that's a great image. And I love like that's what I said. That's one of my favorite things about the streams like this in particular, like that view. It's seeing the atmosphere move.
Mm-hmm.
How would he have been able to go from almost everything else we've seen? It's so far away, there's no atmospheric interference. But you see something like this, and he did it in just a few minutes while we were talking about it. It's not like he knew that this was coming up. How would you have the chance for somebody that works in an observatory in the middle of nowhere to show this thing that we're looking at right here? And just be able to see it, and you can see it. And the longer that you look, the more that you'll see it move. And the more that you can capture the moons, you'll see them rotate through the night, just like see the night skies, you see it move through. There's just a lot of these pieces to the puzzle that would make it so I think one of the tweets that I loved was Elon Musk had asked people if Mars was flat. Like, no, Mars isn't flat, just the Earth. And it was like the Flat Earth Society or something. It's like, what? So wait, you think everything else but us is flat, is circular, is into a ball, but we're not? Why us? What made us special?
Right. I think one of the interesting things about the whole flat Earth movement and kind of this anti-science movement in general is this idea that you can. The only thing you can trust is your senses. And that's kind of what like the root of it is. Like if I can't, but like they also don't want to dig into things. They don't want to think abstractly. They basically just say, if I can't see it for myself with my own two eyes, it's not real, which is ridiculous. There's lots of situations when your eyes are going to deceive you and such. But it's like, that's to me a very dangerous way of thinking, and I see it becoming more and more common. That like if I can't see it for myself, then it's not real. And it's
one of my favorite ones. Thank you, Benjamin.
Of course.
Anyway,
yeah, we digress. But I mean, the thing is,
it's an important note to Matt. Yeah, it is.
Reality is always stranger than fiction, and doing while what Stephen is doing is hard. If you have enough zeros behind your paycheck, right, you can get it set up and do this kind of stuff if you spend enough time doing it.
Just to be clear, for this image, you don't need a lot of zeros. A very simple amateur backyard telescope could totally get a view like this.
Great point.
Yeah.
Sure. I wouldn't go that far.
You want.
You want,
but
no, maybe not quite this good.
All right, pretty good, but
it's gonna be pretty good. Yeah, I agree.
But I mean, he's on a mountain.
Yeah.
And he's in the desert where it's dry, low humidity. So and it's only a 20-inch telescope in this case. It's only a plain a Ritchie Christine telescope design on a plane wave mount.
Obviously it helps to have more money, but
but it does. But look at can you go back in on like just Jupiter real quick? I think that's Io down and to the right there though. Is that Io?
I didn't look up the order.
I looked at it and it looks like you're inverted vertically on this particular. Okay, because we're coming out Nasmith, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So normally we'd be flipped. The image of the sky would be flipped both in a normal. Like a Dobsonian or whatever kind of setup. A reflector is going to be, a refractor telescope, like the emoji style, is going to be flipped this way. And I believe his is just flipped vertically because that's what I'm getting on Sky Safari Pro.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that matches up pretty close with the image, I think.
Nice.
If I can tilt it like that. So, but it looks like Sky Safari is a little bit behind, although I don't know. Sky Safari has been known to be a little bit off on these sometimes.
It's it's not quite right, but it's close.
So wait, so you said this is flipped
vertically.
Vertically. It's also rotated because of
that way. Okay.
Yeah.
It's really weird. There's an option here on Sky Safari Pro up at the top left of the app. If you just click up there, and you can see where it says none, horizontal, or both, or vertical. Sorry. And you can hit those and it'll flip the image as to what you're seeing in your telescope to be proper. So if you're looking in a reflector or whatever kind of telescope, that'll show you right there. And it'll help you see a little bit better.
See those other moons.
Oh yeah, there you go. Let's see if I can. Okay, so down and to the right, the two together. Callisto on the left, Ganymede on the right.
Makes sense. Ganymede's brighter.
Io's up top there between the two. There you go. There's Io, and that is Europa. Europa.
Have you ever seen Amalthea?
What?
I have not seen Amalthea. I've heard that it is possible in a 20 or 30-inch telescope, and you need an occulting.
Yeah, I've not been able to. Well, I think I may have done it once, but I may have been fooling myself.
You have to wait till Amalthea is at its most elongated point. So for those of y'all that don't know, there are what we call 4 Galilean moons of Jupiter. That's Io, Europa, Ganymede, Callisto. Okay,
those 4 right there.
But in I guess it was in the early 1900s, late 1800s, E. Barnard, a genius that came before all of us, who was an astronomy enthusiast, amateur turned professional, actually. He discovered a 5th moon of Jupiter that you can see from Earth. Most people only say you can really see 4. That's true. 99.999% of the time. If you're a seasoned enough observer, like E. Barnard was, you can actually see another moon. Now, Stephen says he thinks he's seen it, which he probably did because that's everybody that's ever seen it thought they saw it, but they were like, maybe. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's like isn't it, Stephen, like a quarter the size of Io or something? It's extremely small.
Oh yeah, it's tiny. It's a tiny piddly thing. So it's really faint, and it's right next to super bright Jupiter, which is just such a tricky situation. I think I saw it in the 36-inch telescope, but I can't really. Yeah, I'm not sure, and maybe that's how I know that I really did. Sometimes, if you think if you're really confident that you saw it, then they probably didn't see it.
Yeah,
some of these challenging things.
And like Stephen said, so you got bright Jupiter right there. You need what some people were doing is they were cutting a piece of aluminum foil in a strip and putting that inside their eyepiece, like right at the very end, but in the optical train of the telescope. And what that does is it helps to knock down the brightness of Jupiter, because if you ever looked at Jupiter in a big telescope, it's almost like looking in a flashlight. It's just like Jupiter.
It's really bright. Yeah, look, I mean, if you go over to my settings here, this is 15 milliseconds. And before, when I was looking at like the other things, it was like 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Again, there's 1,000 milliseconds in 1 second. So I'm using a really, really, really short exposure, and it's still really bright.
Can you say milliseconds one more time?
Millisecond, whatever.
Milliseconds.
Well, I think that's better than Manila.
You know it's true.
Manila folder. But yeah, so if you go outside on a clear night right now, Jupiter is the brightest thing in the sky. Unless you go out in the morning, and then Venus.
Aside from the moon. But yeah.
Well, yes, that's very true. I always forget about the moon.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave the moon out, but man, that's just a beautiful image, dude. The Great Red Spot is right there. For those of y'all that don't know, the Great Red Spot, which is just the little red orb, or the sort of the orangish orb, right there under the cursor, that is a hurricane the size of about an Earth and a half or 2 Earths wide. It's been getting smaller over the years, but it's kind of stabilized out now. And I think it got taller. It got a little taller than it used to be, a little wider.
That's what I heard too.
I thought that was like recently, like in the last couple, like maybe a month or so, they said that they were wrong about that. It actually hasn't gotten smaller.
Oh, it's definitely gotten smaller.
Yeah,
but
I don't know about that.
Because I mean,
I remember.
like,
I want to find that real quick. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let's see. I remember back in, I want to say like 2009 or so. I was looking at Jupiter in a telescope, and the Great Red Spot was huge, much larger than it is now. It was almost harder to see because it was so big, it almost became diffuse in there. And the southern equatorial belt, which is just above where it is, it would sometimes just eat away at the Great Red Spot, and you couldn't really see it. But
that line,
the southern one. And so here lately, as it's been tightening up, because it used to be real elongated, like almost like a football even, but not really. But you can imagine an oval style football, and now it's a much more tighter, circular
absolutely
thing.
And it's also changed color a little bit. It used to be more. It kind of goes from orangey to reddish and pink. It does subtly change a bit.
Yeah, and it just kind of milks out a little bit. There was a time when the southern equatorial band disappeared, and the Great Red Spot was like, boom, there it is. You can't miss it. You know, you could look at Jupiter immediately, and it was so weird just seeing that northern band there all by itself. There's no other.
Yeah, like last year.
It was a couple years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. It was like, I was talking about it to people. Like, yeah, you'll see 2 bands. And they're like, I just see 1. And I'm like,
no.
You're right.
You see 2, and they're like, no, I see 1. I know how to count.
Yeah.
So I found it.
Cool.
So what it was I was thinking was the way that I always heard it explained was that it was shrinking horizontally. And that was the way that I was told. But from this one that came out in Nature Physics, and give me just 1 second, I'll give you the date of it.
While you're doing that, Tony, thank you. I appreciate you for joining the Patreon, and you will get stickers, my friend. I promise you that. I was going to send you stickers anyway, but yes.
So, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt there. It says the study published in Nature Physics suggests that the storm is still as thick as it was 40 years ago when NASA's Voyager flew past it in 1979.
So it's not getting taller. Okay.
Yeah, so it's not that's interesting because a couple years ago there was that one from NASA that said as it was shrinking, it was getting taller. But this one's saying for the Great Red Spot in particular, our predicted horizontal dimensions agree well with measurements at the cloud level since the Voyager mission in 1979. We also predict the Great Red Spot's thickness, which is inaccessible to direct observation. It has remained surprisingly constant despite the observed horizontal shrinking.
Okay. So it's shrinking horizontally, but it's not getting taller. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to make sure I was right.
No, you're absolutely right. I don't want to keep going around saying it's getting taller if it's not. So that's new data.
Yeah.
So fantastic. That's how exactly. That's how science works, man.
That's right.
New data comes to light. Yeah, exactly.
And this was recent too. Like when I say recent, I mean that was like March, April was that one. And it looks like there was a couple other ones. Yeah, so there was like one in March. Then so there was a couple people kind of rolling through that one, but a couple different ones here. But yeah, it was right around like the middle end of March.
So real quick, I just want to shout out B-Ball. He says, he deals with flat earthers every day. Don't ask me why he tortures himself, he says. But his channel's dedicated to debunking. So thank you, B-Ball. Keep debunking. We appreciate debunkers. Because when somebody says Saturn, you can't see Saturn with a telescope. We say, oh, yeah? Here it is.
Yeah, there it is.
There it is.
Yeah, seeing is not so good. It's getting a little worse right now.
But you can still see the Cassini division there.
Yeah, kind of coming and going. Yeah, a little bit.
North is left, y'all.
Yeah.
Of course, who are we to say who decides what north and south are named on Saturn?
Yeah, or in space in general. It's all basically arbitrary. Yeah, a little blurry. I mean, Saturn is still very low, 28 degrees. That's pretty low. Let's see those moons, though, hiding nearby. Let's lengthen the exposure here.
Then maybe we can see enchiladas. Almost said it right.
Enchiladas.
Enchiladas. Speaking of enchiladas, I'm going to have to hop off here. It's about 10:30 my time. I need to grab a snickety snack and go to sleep because I got to get up early. We've got a pretty busy day tomorrow. Definitely want to let everybody know the Humans to Mars Summit is officially going to be virtual, so you're going to be able to see it all online. We just got some really cool people that were confirmed. We've still got like Alyssa Carson and Raquel Nino and a lot of really great people already. But Charles Bolden, the former administrator and 4-time astronaut for NASA, is going to be on. And we've got the assistant administrator for NASA. We've got tons and tons of people. The new head of human spaceflight. It's going to be really cool to talk to her and see what's going on with that. So we've got a lot of cool things. And then Tuesday is the first webinar that I'm doing for Space Foundation. So if you're interested in joining that, the registration is free. You can find that on my Facebook page, and I'm going to post about it on Stardom. But yeah, we're going to talk about SEDS. So if you don't know what SEDS is, it's the Students for Exploration and Development of Space. It's created by Peter Diamandis from X Prize, and it's basically how people that are in college and high school have the ability to get internships and work with different organizations to help get us back to space. So that's going to be a big one on Tuesday. So please join me for that one. I'm getting close to my goal of 100 registrations. So go check that out. It's going to be on GoToWebinar.
Nice, man.
I want to take that Jupiter thing down.
Oh yeah, I guess
we're no longer on Jupiter.
No longer.
Yeah. No, we are not. We are not on. We are on Saturn. That's awesome, man. So, so you got a busy schedule coming up. But I mean, that's not surprising. I mean, you stay busy, so.
And Tuesday night's going to be fun too. Drinks with Explore Mars. It's always free. Check out Explore Mars. We're going to have Danielle Dallas Russo, who is the granddaughter of Stuart Russo, one of the Apollo astronauts, and I believe he was the pilot for 15. I can't remember exactly. I'm not all that great with Apollo astronauts yet. But she has a really cool platform called Back to Space, where they're looking at getting one of the remaining Apollo astronauts on one of the commercial spaceflight missions and take them back to space and kind of excite everybody in a similar way to what happened with John Glenn when he went back to space in his 80s, right? So they're talking about doing that one. So that could be really, really cool. So so doing that one, and both of those things are free on Tuesday. So feel free to join me, and always love live streaming with you guys. And this will continue on Stardom. So if you're watching on Stardom, you don't have to leave there. I'm just leaving. Please continue and sit and listen to these guys and absorb all the cool stuff. And let me know if you all got any questions on there. You guys rock, and I will see you in the very near future.
Yeah, man. Thanks for joining us, Ron.
Thanks for joining.
Bye, guys.
It's always fun.
Company.
Always.
Be sure to give Ron a follow at Stardom Space on the Instagrams and the Facebooks and all the sources. And man, Stephen, though, that is just a gorgeous view of Saturn there. You can kind of see those 3 moons that were below it earlier. I feel like you can almost see one now, even.
I don't know.
Or there was something there below it. It looked like maybe it was some kind of alien ship. I'm just kidding.
3 dots below. Okay.
Yeah. So there you go. You got Dione on the left, and Enceladus is the guy in the middle.
Yeah, the dim one. Yep.
And then Tethys is the one to the right. And then down there, that's Rhea.
Yeah.
As far as I could see. I think that one up was a background star, but which way did you go? Oh, that way it could be either Iapetus or Hyperion. I would say Iapetus probably.
All right. And then what? And this guy down here is a background star. You said
that's Titan.
Oh, that's Titan. Okay.
That's Titan down there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know which way you went. Sorry, but you can see Titan. Like, look at it's actually spherical. It's bigger than all the other dots. You can see that. Like comparing it to like Enceladus or Enceladus is how you really say it. I don't want to keep making it like everybody's like, no, it's called Enceladus. It's actually Enceladus. But you can see, like, as he compares the two there, Enceladus is so tiny, and Titan is just this huge orb. It's beautiful.
Tiny dim thing. Let's take like a long for Saturn exposure.
Okay.
Take like 2 seconds and see if we can get other moons. So we got the fraction spikes off.
Oh, there you go.
Saturn, which is weird.
They're thick. They're nice and thick too.
Yeah. Is that anything?
No, that's a background.
Okay.
Star.
And you said up above, there's probably
2 moons near each other. Yeah, it should be Iapetus, and that's Hyperion. Right there, that's got to be Hyperion.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, Hyperion says it's a magnitude 14.7. So yeah, that's about right.
Still even longer.
Yeah, because Iapetus is 11.3. So that's about right. Yeah, I think that's what we're looking at there. Hyperion's kind of a difficult one to get, especially telescopically.
Mm-hmm.
That's 100% Hyperion. Now that you've gotten those 2 background stars to the bottom right.
Yeah.
That's 100% Hyperion, that dot right there. That's Hyperion.
Wow. Good job, sir. That's a faint one. Really faint. Yeah, just look how bright Saturn is at that exposure.
I love that moon configuration just below with Dione, Enceladus, and what is it? Tethys? That is so cool how it's just kind of cradling Saturn there. It's amazing.
Cool. Very nice.
Take Time says, my senses tell me the Earth is round. Oh, so don't follow your senses, Stephen said, unless you're...
I mean, don't let that be the only thing you follow, right?
Yeah, right. You need some evidence too. Absolutely. Aaron says, I remember seeing the Great Red Spot in my 6-inch Newtonian, and it was huge. Today in my 9.25 SCT, it's much smaller. Yeah, that's the way it goes. Bruh. I think Megan was like, I want stickers. Well, Megan, I do have stickers, so get at me. I can get you some stickers, no problem. Let's see. Looking at Jupiter and Saturn never gets old. Take Time says, thank you guys so much for doing these live streams. Hey, thank you, Take Time, for watching, and thank all of y'all for watching. Man, we enjoy doing these. And again, these really wouldn't happen. This particular format here really wouldn't happen without the man below me here, Mr. Stephen Hummel.
Thank you.
So you guys give him a round of applause for that, because he's sitting on 6 figures of equipment out there, guys, and a mountain. So, and he's gracious enough to, in his free time, take us for a tour. So it's absolutely amazing.
My pleasure.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Andy Crowley says, you guys are the best. We appreciate that. Dean says, awesome. Bob says, would the blinking planetary, blinking planetary, I inserted a word there, 6826 be a good target? Also, NGC 7549 looks interesting with a lot of neighboring galaxies. I don't know how.
We're not going to get much in the way of galaxies and other really faint fuzzies. Partly because the moon, and partly because of less sensitive camera and limited exposure. But planetaries, yeah, this is the scope for that. So let's go to the blinking planetary.
Blinking planetary, very cool.
Yeah.
Benjamin, I didn't hear that NASA confirmed that cube thing. I'm pretty sure that was forged. I would love to see the article that you got, Benjamin, for that, because I'm always willing to amend my skepticism. I can't wait till we confirm aliens, but until we do, I'm like Mulder's poster that he had in his office. I want to believe, but I need to see that evidence, baby. That good evidence. Ron says, "Is this where all the cool kids hang out?" Yeah, sometimes.
Welcome back, Ron. Sort of.
as he's laying himself down or getting some enchiladas before he goes
you're making
to bed.
me hungry the more you say
I know.
Clear that out. All right, so this is the blinking plan.
Which it's not going to blink in here, unfortunately.
No, it is not, but it is going to look really cool.
Spencer Pratt, how you doing? Look at that! Wow, look at the blue.
That's blue.
Wow, that is a blue nebula. Let's get that. There we go.
It's a little too blue. Let me kind of tone this down. Reset everything.
Let it be its own thing, man. Why are you trying to take its blueness away?
Wow, so what? There we go. That's pretty realistic.
Yeah, that's very realistic. But look at that.
Yeah,
look at
nice.
the inner shell.
Very well defined inner ring there. Yeah.
And it's got the lobes. Look at the lobes.
I like those lobes.
Lisa Lobes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
This
is one of my favorites in a really massive telescope, like the 82-inch or 36-inch.
Oh, I can imagine the 82. This thing is ridiculous. Looking at this thing in the 82-inch would be, I would assume, similar to having laser eye surgery. So many photons.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, planetaries in that scope look great in general. But yeah, this is a good one. Yeah, I love how well defined the structure is in there.
Yeah, this is definitely not Saturn. So let me go ahead and remove that there. Sorry, I get kind of lazy with the old tags there, but great suggestion. Oh, amazing. I mean, you look at this thing and so let's do a little bit of backstory here on why they call it the blinking planetary nebula. First of all, it's a planetary nebula. We all know that planetary nebulas have nothing to do with planets. They are nebulas that their home star has run out of fuel and sort of collapsed and sort of spewed its gases and dust out. And at that process, you get a glowing nebula that you get here. It's sort of the last sort of death throes of a star that isn't huge, sort of, I guess, the mass of our sun or somewhere near there. The reason it's called the blinking planetary is because in a small telescope like normal people have, 8, 10, 12, 13 inch, whatever, all the way up to even 20 inches, I think, is where it stops blinking, maybe. Because I can't get it to blink in my 22, but my buddy's 12-inch it'll do it in that. But what you do is so you look directly at the nebula, like as if you were just looking at it here. And I'm gonna make that big because that is just such a gorgeous tight image, man. Look at that. Oh wow, it's spectacular. It almost looks 3D, like we can see down into it. I don't know.
I kind of get that sense too, like slightly above it or something.
Yeah, like kind of an oblique kind of angle looking down and in, but that may be an illusion. But wow, that's the sense I'm getting.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what the real three-dimensional structure is. That could very well be the case. And a lot of these, they are symmetrical one axis, so it would make sense that this is actually a circle that we're viewing at an angle, so it looks kind of oblique. Yeah, that's possible.
It's amazing, dude. But so back to the blinking thing. If you look at this thing in a small telescope, and my buddy Bob says 16-inch small, yeah. Well, that's the way it goes. But when you look at it directly, you'll see that central star that Stephen has in that. Oh man, that's even better. Look at that. Yeah. Bringing it down. But you'll see that central star. It's stellar in a telescope. And when you stare at that central star, the nebula will sort of absorb into that star. and you're like, whoa, what happened? Like the nebula goes away. It's an optical illusion with your eye. And then all you can see is that star. But then if you use what's called averted vision, which is where you're, instead of looking directly at the object, you move your eye off axis where your eye is a little more sensitive, the nebula explodes back into, it should be called the exploding nebula, which would be hilarious because it'd be wrong in every way, but it would be a star and then just boop, you'll see the Planetary Nebula again when you use averted vision. So it's something that I definitely challenge all you visual observers to go out there and check out. This is in Cygnus, is that right, Stephen, if I remember correct?
And in Health, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I believe it's in that area, yeah. Pretty close to it.
Pretty close.
I'm not even going to look at this chart. I'm just going to look up in the sky.
Yeah, you'll be able to tell. Cygnus is a huge constellation.
Yeah, it's in Cygnus.
Very good.
All right. That's a cool planetary. There's other cool planetaries. What about the cat's eye? How about?
Oh, we got to do the cat's eye. We'll do like what, one or two more, Stephen, and
yeah, that sounds good.
Stephen's got to go get some enchiladas down there from.
I'm so hungry.
From Fort Davis. You'd probably have to drive into Alpine for. I mean.
I ate out for the first time in months.
How'd that go?
I got to go from Riata and Alpine. I had their sour cream enchiladas, which sounds weird, but oh man.
No, I love. We call them Aztecas down here. Enchilada Aztecas. That's absolutely my favorite, dude. Good choice. Look at that.
That's so cool. Oh
and we go from that one to this one, and just you get to see the different contrast of how these things evolve. Look at how beautiful that is. That's the cat's eye.
That's the cat's eye.
I've never seen it look like that.
That's so cool.
Not quite like that, where it's almost like a spirograph in the there's like multiple shells.
This is exactly what it looks like in the 82-inch, just like that.
For real.
Yeah, for real. All those
like
shells
visually.
Visually, yep.
Oh man, I can't wait to one day look through the Autostruva telescope. That's gonna be an epic day. COVID killed that, but
yeah, you know, this is actually so bright. I'm gonna stop live stacking. I'm gonna go even shorter exposure here.
There you go.
And stretch it. And
not sure if I've heard of that program. Oh yeah, that's very nice, dude.
Kind of 4-ish seconds there. Oh, come on, what happened?
Bob says, look at the lobes on that. Wow, exactly.
There we go. That's pretty much exactly what it looks like in ADG right there.
Oh man, look at you can actually get some pinks in there, huh?
Yeah.
You're getting some pink streamers on the edge there.
Yeah, there's a little bit of H alpha there, just a little hanging out on the sides.
Wow. I'm just the shells of gas inside there. I don't think I've ever really seen it like that. Yeah,
it's really cool. Let's start stacking again with these 4-second exposures. Let me clear that out.
I will be honest with everybody here that, I'm not really an astrophotographer. I piddle with it, but I'm not anywhere near the level Stephen is. But so most of these objects that, I sort of talk about them from a visual astronomer's perspective. Because I feel like, most people on the planet are visual astronomers.
Yeah.
At least in the amateur community for sure, because, a lot of us can't afford a $1,500 camera, just the camera. Then you need the whole optical train to power that camera. Well, but then you got to have something that tracks the sky amazingly, or it's a pile of headaches, And so if you do what I did back in 2013 and you buy an entry-level astrophotography setup, you're going to reach walls eventually. Now, if you have unlimited funds, you can throw at this thing. You can take all the astro photos you want, but everything in the sky has already been taken. Somebody's already got a picture.
Pretty much. Yeah. All the interest. Yeah. If it's worth photographing, someone's done it.
Yeah. But I will say on that front though, it is incredibly satisfactory or satisfying to have your own image.
Yes. And say, I did this. This is real. And show everyone's, I took this image of this nebula or whatever.
Look at the processing I did here, kind of.
Yeah.
But I mean, as you can see, Stephen's doing he's doing some back end work with the histogram and stuff like that, sort of moving levels around. But really, he's doing like processing while he's imaging, which is something you really should be able to do if you're a talented astrophotographer, which Stephen definitely is. But you really need to be able to kind of know what you need to get for post-processing. And that's kind of the trick, is if you get a bunch of bad data out in the field, you spend a week getting bad data. When you come home, you're going to be very disappointed when you start the processing part.
There's no fixing bad data, that's for sure.
That's right. It's kind of like in recording. When I record music, if you record a crappy guitar sound, you're going to end up with a crappy guitar sound in your recording. That's just the way it goes. Get the best you can at the source, you know, of the guitar amp or whatever it is you're recording, and then post-process it later with EQs and compression and things like that. You can't really, you shouldn't be trying to work with bad data, but trust me, I have gigabytes of bad data on all my computers. So, you know, I'm not really one to talk, but I do dabble with astrophotography, like I said, but it takes a lot of specialized equipment and then the know-how to run that specialized equipment. And that's not an easy thing to do, but it is doable. You can acquire that knowledge. There's a whole lot of YouTube videos out there.
That's one of the better ways to learn these days. But yeah, it's astrophotography. If it's a hobby you're thinking about, be prepared. There's a steep learning curve. It's getting easier these days.
Sure.
It's hard on your wallet. It takes a lot of time, a lot of patience, but it's fun. It's so rewarding to take these images for yourself. That's actually how I really got into astronomy, I think, was just seeing things for myself, taking my own data and seeing what was really real versus, because you could look at pictures of things and they may be better than yours. Right, like the Hubble's image of this is obviously better than mine here, but it's different to see it in action and know all of the steps that went into it. Really enhances your appreciation, and you end up learning a lot about astronomy in the process.
And that's a beautiful thing, is even, you know, you could spend like 5 nights out in the dark and, you know, waste them, but you've learned something just by going out and doing that. You've built your experience level, either in visual astronomy or astrophotography. Because let's be real, there's only really 2 ways you can go when it comes to astronomy. You can go visually or you can go astrophotography. I chose to do both at the beginning of my adult astronomy thing. You know, when I was a little kid, obviously taking pictures of stuff was not practical. But you know, as an adult, we can make those decisions and throw money down. Like Stephen said, it's hard on your wallet because you're like, okay, I got this great mount now. I got a great scope, and now I need a great camera. Well, you're ready to drop another $1,000 at least on the camera alone, you know. And so it's $1,000 here, $1,000 there, $1,000 here, $4,000 there. You know, it's like, oh, you know. But that's the way it goes. That's why a lot of people opt for visual astronomy over photographic,
which is rewarding in its own and very different way. Like I do both, right? I enjoy both. Some people just do one or the other, but I think they both have different things to offer.
Absolutely, and I think it's fun to do both at the same time. So let's say, for instance, you know, you're an astrophotographer, you go to a star party and you want to catch 5 hours of data on the cat's eye. Okay, cool. So you got all your stuff set up. It's dark. The skies are clear. You're taking 5 hours a day, and now what are you going to do? Are you going to sit there and stare at your computer screen all night? Are you going to sit back and maybe do some binocular observing? Maybe you have a 12-inch telescope over here that you're going to manhandle. Maybe you go hang out with your buddies over there and they're doing visual astronomy. You end up doing visual astronomy even if you're an astrophotographer anyway. So, you know, that's my thoughts on the dichotomy there. But I'm telling you that, like Stephen said, there is something to be learned from just looking at something. You know, like the cat's eye. You won't see it like this, though. I can promise you that.
Yeah, it won't look like that.
Look at those pink streamers you're getting. Like I'm not sure if I've ever really seen those in that before.
You know, a lot
definitely not visual.
Yeah, not visually. It's a tough object to photograph well because the core is so bright and everything around it is so much fainter. It's hard to get both at the same time. It's one of those objects that is actually easy for people to get into at first. They're like, oh yeah, I got a good result, but hard to master, I think, to photograph well.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, and I mean, anything's hard to master. It's like, I think 10,000 hours. Isn't that what people say?
Yeah,
that you need to you know, truly master something. But I mean, even there, you're really not. I mean, there's a lot more you can do than 10,000 hours. And you got a little galaxy down there.
Yeah, one known here, and then another over here. And there's
Yeah.
actually more of the nebula right here. With the moonlight, it's really hard to see.
Oh.
I don't know if it's coming through to you.
I can see a little knot there. Yeah.
Yeah. If we zoom back in on the core, you can see the streamers as well.
Oh, wow. They look like prominences on the sun.
Yeah, they kind of do, but they're so symmetrical. So
Yeah,
strange.
kind of like streamers, like they're just kind of twisting together in opposite directions. Wow.
Yeah, it's probably because it's a binary system and the star is precessing. So as the jets of material are coming off, the stars move and the jets drift as well. So it was here and it's kind of now over there.
The lawn sprinkler effect, right?
Exactly. But that's even more complicated because it's 4 lobes. But
yeah, exactly. Well, I think they do make some of those lawn sprinklers with 2, but
that's true. Yeah.
And the same thing sort of happens off of propellers on airplanes. We call it the spiraling slipstream or P factor. You know, it's this, as your prop is going around, it's creating a stream of air that's behind it is also swirling. And it's sort of a neat effect. I guess you kind of see it in multiple places in nature. I guess it's almost like a fluid dynamics thing even.
Yeah,
air is almost a fluid dynamics kind of thing. So
air is a fluid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get another object in. One more object here.
Okay.
I recommend the planetary. I don't know.
Yeah, I do
one.
too. What about the blue flash? I mean, that was the one I'd pulled up earlier, but
blue flash. I don't remember that one.
That's 6905. But I mean, that was just the one that I saw. It's very nearby the Saturn Nebula.
Oh, it's another good one. I don't know if I've seen the blue flash in this telescope, so
it seems like a very planetary night. So we might as well stay with the theme, huh?
Yeah, let's go there. 6905, you said?
6905, yes, sir.
All right, scope's already there. Just gotta move the dome.
Get to some comments real quick while you're doing that. And James says, there's beautiful pics of the New York City skyline. Does that mean you shouldn't take one of your own? No, that's why I prefaced it all with saying that it's very satisfying to have your own image, of course. Is it worth spending $10,000 to take a picture of the New York skyline for science when everyone else has already done that? Maybe, maybe not. More for the satisfaction of it, just being like, yeah, I did it. But yeah, I mean, it's you should definitely get out and take pictures. I am 1,000% for everybody buying a DSLR and going wide field right at the start. You know, just go out there and make mistakes, because we all make mistakes constantly, and that's how Stephen has learned what he's learned, how I've learned what I've learned. You know, we go out there and we're like, oh, that doesn't work, let me do this, and then it's like, oh, that's better, or worse, whatever it might be. Bob says, I bought look at that. Wow.
It's a weird one.
That is, I've never seen it photographically like this.
So it
almost looks like the Crab Nebula with a star in the middle.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, that's not what I expected. I guess I'm used to the showier planetaries are all bipolar nebulae, so they have they're symmetrical, at least on one axis.
Now this is it is a bipolar. I'm looking at it in Sky Safari. So to those 2 stars, there should be 2 cones that extend out. That maybe we'll get in a minute as it builds the image or whatever.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But that's what it looks like. I can maybe show y'all what it looks like on my phone, but I know it's not the best. But you see that.
Wow, yeah.
There is 2 lobes there. So I don't know. Again, this is a telescopic object that I've seen a couple dozen times, but
yeah, those lobes must be pretty faint. I'm guessing they're to the right and left. Yeah. Yeah,
I guess so. This particular planetary nebula is 2,500 light years away, meaning that for those of y'all that are like, what does that mean? 2,500 light years distant. So light is the fastest thing in the universe that we know of, and it moves at 186,000 miles per second. 6 trillion miles in a year. That number doesn't even fit in my head, but that's what it is. 6 trillion miles in 1 year. And that thing took 2,500 years to get here. The light that's hitting Stephen's scope tonight. Oh, there I can see that lobe now, huh?
Yeah, a little bit on the right.
And a little bit on the left too.
Yeah,
A
maybe.
little, yeah, down there exactly. Dude, look at
Yeah,
the
those are
modeling. Like it's not smooth. It's
Right.
not homogeneous. It's got lanes.
Yeah, it looks, like you said, the crab or something.
I
Not
wasn't
at all
expecting that.
like what I thought too. Yeah, that's a weird one. That's cool.
And this one is in the constellation Delphinus. For those of y'all that know your constellations, that's a really cool constellation too, because
It
it
really does look like a dolphin.
it kind of does, yeah, or some kind of little fish or something, I guess. But it's got a nice little diamond, which I think the diamond is called Job's coffin, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember. I feel like I've heard that somewhere.
I don't remember that.
Maybe that's somewhere else though.
I don't know.
But
way too small.
yeah. Spencer says, seriously, I'm seeing better pics from amateurs these days than I used to see in the textbooks from large observatories. Absolutely. Yeah, the technology is crazy. Might as well add to the science and beauty if you can. Absolutely. Absolutely. Dean says, I agree. Yeah, me too. I mean, look at what Stephen is capturing here. And, this is a real image. This isn't like he's adding in anything or doing anything extra. All he's doing is bringing things out of the data that is already there.
Exactly. Yeah. Wow,
Spectacular, man.
And that's with the pretty bright moon still. So that's pretty cool. I'm sure if the moon were down, we would get those extra lobes by now. Much better.
I agree with you. Yeah. That's just I'm very. I didn't know it looked like that visually.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, photographically. Yeah, I've only ever looked at it visually. But,
I'd like to see this with your night vision thing on a big scope.
Oh yeah,
That
would be very cool with the PVS 14. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Still saving for that one.
You're right. Well, I think this is where we're going to call the night. Almost midnight here. So
the witching hour.
Yeah. This has been awesome. This has been super fun. Thank you, Will, as always, for hosting. Thank you, Ron, earlier as well. You may be gone, but we always appreciate your company.
Absolutely.
Make it much livelier. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight.
Yeah. If you want to follow us on Instagram, there they are below us in the news style ticker at the bottom. Hummel Stephen on Instagram, Stardom Space, and Deep Sky Dude. And you're probably watching us on either Stardom or Deep Sky Dude. We want to say thank y'all to everybody who follows those platforms. We really appreciate y'all. Follow us for more of this stuff. I mean, subscribe on YouTube. Follow me on Deep Sky Dude because, these happen every once in a while. Steven will message me and be like, hey, what you doing? And I'm like, nothing important. What's up? And so, oh, look at that image, man. That is
try to get a little more contrast in there.
Oh, that is so cool. That's an album cover right there that I could probably use. But we do these for fun. We do these because we're bored just like y'all. And we have access and time and knowledge and the technology to do this. The technology that the internet is built on has to be in place for us to do this. So we appreciate you guys watching. Bob, thank you so much for watching, for observing with us tonight in a virtual star party, even though we're all over the place. We appreciate you watching and hanging out with us. Camilla, thank you as well. We appreciate you for watching. Stephen, thank you. Good night. Get something to eat, Stephen, Aaron says.
Thanks.
That's going to be a long drive to Alpine, man. Is there anything even 24 hours in Alpine these days? Or
I don't believe so.
Yeah.
I think
it is a college
McDonald's.
Yeah. Oh, you think the McDonald's might be, huh?
Not that I want to eat there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they do have great shakes and stuff too. I mean, I guess that's an option. Go get some enchiladas. Yeah, they might not have enchiladas at McDonald's, but it's funny you go from the McDonald's to McDonald's. Anyway.
I know. Joke's been done.
Ooh, we appreciate y'all watching. Thank you, Dean. Again, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the stuff, follow us on all those places, and because you never know what we're gonna find in the nighttime sky and upload for all you. Hey, and if Stephen or I finds UFOs or whatever, we're gonna be the first one. But it's weird that he and I have been observing seriously our whole lives basically, and we've never seen a UFO. That's odd,
Yeah.
isn't it?
All this fancy equipment, all
the
stuff,
time that we've spent outside and looking up in detail. And we know that, the constellations are there. That shouldn't be moving, but out of all that, how have we missed this, Stephen? Are they singling us out to not show themselves to us and only showing themselves to people with shaky cameras?
Yeah, it doesn't add up.
Doesn't add up.
All right, no.
But if we find them, we'll report them. But hey, Lloyd Overcash, just down the road in Linfield.
Yeah, hey.
Good to see you, Lloyd. Nope, not even a Taco Bell there. And the one clothing store they had in Alpine, I think, is going out of business. So that's the way it is. But we thank y'all for watching, guys. Stay safe out there. Stay quarantined for as long as you can. We're gonna beat this thing together. We're gonna do it. It's gonna go away if we do the right things. And if we wash our hands and put the mask on, if you're going to go out in public, we can go back out. Just wear the mask. Protect yourself. Protect someone else in the process. Stephen, thank you again, man. 1,000 times thank you for letting us borrow your telescope for the evening, man. It's such a pleasure.
Thanks. Thank you, Will, for hosting. This is always a lot of fun. I always have a good time doing these. Alrighty. Well, peace out, everybody.
Yep. We'll see y'all on the next one. Y'all be good.